T-minus 10.
All aboard!
You know what a job is? Lot of people get up in the morning and they go to work.
This is Scope of Success, where we bring you business life lessons and throw a lifeline to your career. And now, Brian and James.
Welcome to Scope of Success, business life lessons, one interview at a time. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, subscribe to us on iTunes, and share with a friend. I'm Brian, and James is out today, but we got Sin filling in. Sin, how you doing?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me back.
Excellent. Well, thank you for being back.
Well, I must have did something right the last time.
Right, absolutely. You were great last time. So we have a great show lined up for you guys. We got Lou Corso. He is the founder, inventor of Usuggestit.com. We're going to find out all about that, why he got it started. You familiar with that, Sin?
No, I hate to say I'm not familiar with it, such as being the last minute fill-in.
Right, because we, because Sin and I are members of PMI Long Island, the chapter, and we are currently using it for our website, and it's been fantastic. So you got to check it out. We're going to talk to him in a second and find out how it happened and where it all came from.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to finding out what we're paying for.
But first we got to do some business.
More business.
So actually, this is a project that I've been working on. So I have started a Kickstarter campaign to create a children's book that I wrote. Beautifully illustrated by Kate Boycott. I spent a lot of time looking for her. She's done an amazing job. It's the story of two storytellers, one that brings color, joy, light into a new empire, while a king finds his long-awaited treasure. It takes place in the hidden empire made up entirely of books. The book is to help children love books and also to help those in need. 75% of the profits are going to the TD Foundation, a 100% volunteer organization that provides aid to children of wounded warriors of the military. To support the project or just to find out more about it, visit the StorybookEmpire.com for more information. Tom Dearline, who's a great guy, who was a guest on the show, who started this, and I just wanted to find a way to kind of work with him and create a really cool product for kids.
Well, that's great. I didn't know you had it in you. That's wonderful.
Well, thank you.
I mean, I know you talk a lot, but writing seems I should have put two and two together, especially since you appeal to kids.
Right. Well, thank you. Well, let's bring our guest to the show, Lou Corso. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
If you could just talk right up to the mic.
Sure.
Yeah, we don't want to miss anything.
Okay.
So welcome to the show. So
Thank you.
You are the founder, and you came up with Usuggestit. So give us like the 60-second kind of flyby of what's that all about.
60 seconds. So you can think of us as a voice of the customer type platform where we're getting suggestions from consumers on improving products for brands.
Oh,
essentially.
okay.
And anybody who has a consumer, you can think of, PMI is a great example. They have members or customers who are buying from supermarkets or any brand you'll find and walking around the supermarket could be a customer of Usuggestit.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because we're currently using it for our chapter's website.
Yep.
So what it's currently doing is, and correct me if I'm wrong, because I know we're fairly new with it. It is breaking up suggestions into different categories for us. Because we have like monthly meetings, we have different programs. So if somebody wants to create a suggestion for that, they can do it specifically.
Exactly.
Right. And you know what it is? We had something before, and I feel it was kind of a little bit maybe lackluster. And when we added a product that was a little bit more engaging, like yours, it has made a difference, and people are more giving more input. And I think it will eventually lead to some great stuff.
I think the biggest difference between us and just a regular box you're going to get is we can socialize. So we can take that suggestion that you've given us and then bring it on to a social media channel like Facebook.
Okay. Oh, so where does the suggestion go once is it in your universe?
It sits in our platform.
Okay.
And what we do is we allow a user to come in there and basically like it. So you get a thumbs up on it, or you can turn around and share it. Right now we have sharing through Facebook, but we're going to add sharing on Twitter and Instagram as well.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's great. When did you start this company?
The initial concept came about 2013.
Right.
And really started putting the pieces together in 2015.
Oh, okay.
We went through, you're very much in stealth mode until you come out and show somebody what you're actually doing. And then you go into some things like beta, You know, so
Right.
2017 we really come out with our first real version,
Right.
and working with brands such as yourself, PMI New York City chapter, PMI Long Island chapter, and a few others in and around the New York City area. And we're coming out with version 2.0 in about 3 weeks.
Oh, wow.
Oh, okay. I want to ask, why did you come up with the idea? What was the reason? Where did that kind of, where the light bulb go off? What started that? But think of your answer,
Uh-oh.
because we got a little bit more business to do.
We always have
So
business.
when we come back, I will get the answer. So one of our another great sponsor of ours is we are sponsored by the Long Island and New York City's chapter of Project Management Institute. PMI New York and Long Island are the local chapters of Project Management Institute, a global organization of industry leaders and project management professionals. When you join PMI's global organization, you could also join PMI's New York and/or Long Island chapter to get involved with your local project management and business communities. To learn more, visit PMINYC.org in New York City or PMILIC.org on the Long Island area, where you can join both, just like me. So now you are a member of both, right?
No, I'm not
'Cause
a
you-
member.
'cause
I
you-
should
you're-
be a member of
You,
both, but
you
I,
should. You should think about it.
That's not a bad idea.
Yeah, I love it because there's a lot of great events that happen in New York City, and I get the information from it. And not that I'm in New York City, but I will go occasionally because they really have some great events, just like Long Island.
Yeah.
And it's a great organization.
Oh, it is. It was our parent organization.
Yes, that's right. Right in the beginning. What's one of the big things you like about PMI Long Island? And
Long Island, the people.
Okay, right. It is about the people,
It's
right?
about the people. When
It
you
is-
think about it.
Right. True. It is about the people. So Lou, getting back. So what's the
We're done with the business.
we are done with the business
Okay,
for
good.
now.
For now.
There could be more business.
No,
hopefully.
because I'm looking forward to this because it sounds like a great way to capture ideas.
Sin, the business is a good thing. I mean, this equipment isn't free. Our time isn't free. We need sponsors.
I never worried about where the money came from for the toys. I just focused on the toys.
Where's that from?
It's from Sin.
Oh, okay. All right.
It's from me.
All right. Write that down, everybody. Sin's got some great quotes. So Lou, where was this idea? Where's the light bulb? Where does that go off? And you're like, I have an idea.
The light bulb went off in 2013, but it wasn't like an initial light bulb. Like, this is exactly what it's going to basically be. What ends up happening over time is you iterate and you adapt and you adopt new things. And we're constantly, I mean, think about the name. Usuggestit is like, can I give you a suggestion? Absolutely, you can.
Right. But was there something that you did? Like you had an issue with a product and you're like, man, I wish I could kind of voice my opinion, but there's no clear cut way of me doing that?
Initially, it started off as, you can think of it as like an incremental improvement for the individual. Like, how do I take and tap into that inner creative spirit that I actually have, right?
Right.
And we were looking at it as a more sort of like down the road, how do I actually tell this story about how this technology, this disruptive technology that I'm looking at is going to improve or change the world in 25, 30, 40 years.
Right.
And then we thought about it and said, that's a great kind of storytelling apparatus, but we want to do things that can actually effectively move the needle today.
Okay.
So the idea of now aggregating these suggestions coming from people who are using brands and getting on planes and using services all day long, those are your experts. Those are the people who really know your products and services better than most people do that work for the company.
Right.
And we felt they have a definite voice in making the changes within the product, within the brand. And what better way than to use the internet, which is on 24 hours a day, 7 days a week,
Right.
to ping somebody at the moment of inspiration and say, hey, it's coming directly from somebody who wants to talk to you, as opposed to somebody you're now just saying, can you give me some information? This is
Right.
an inspirational moment.
Yeah.
Unlike, I need to talk to the brand at this point in time. Oh, I can find them here. Great. Let's have that conversation. And then the other part about it is like, how does a brand message the consumer back? And one of those ways is like, I heard you, let's make the product, or let's get a little bit more information about, do other people want this type of thing as well?
How do you measure success? What's like the benchmark that you have?
I think that the easiest way to measure success is making sure that the brand and the consumer are actually having that dialogue.
Okay.
So once you've opened up the brand to say we're interested in doing this, that's our first measure of success.
Right.
Also, the brands have to come in.
The brands, you have to elect to basically be on here, and over time, we're reducing the barrier so that any brand can basically join. It's not that we obviously want everybody on this.
So now this is. I mean, we're in such a global world. How do you deal with like internet? Are you even thinking international, or how do you deal with that? I mean, a company from Mexico or England.
Great question.
Yeah.
And we absolutely 100% are thinking about bringing this out to every corner of the planet, for that matter.
Right.
So we think that where the next places we want to go to, when you look at the top 10 languages in the world, do they actually layer over exactly the geographies where we should go?
Right.
So, our next geography may just well be the UK because of a common language.
Yeah.
And then you'll go to other areas that are business and customer focused. Maybe it's like Germany, or maybe it's Japan, and maybe it's Australia.
So the question that Sin's going to ask next, I could read his mind, and I know what he's going to ask, is he's such a skeptical guy that how do you manage, like Google is such a monster.
Yeah.
How do you manage, like, in a sense, like a Google? Like, I always feel like maybe Google could come up with any kind of premise, including this. But this is something that you have a niche cut out?
Yeah.
You're Google proof in a sense.
I think you look at businesses out there that could potentially be strategic partners.
Right.
Google can't absorb everything. They have to focus on what makes them Google, for that matter.
Yeah.
And if they decided to take over everything, then they would stagnate the creativity. And the beauty part about what we're basically doing is we're allowing that creativity to basically come from the consumer, right? So that's the wonderful thing about what we're actually working with brands to say, your customers have a voice, they know your product, but also they're changing. Like 5 years ago, I didn't have kids.
Right.
Now I have 2 kids.
Yeah, right.
So
that makes a big difference.
I wasn't worried about buying, diapers or anything like that. Now it's one of my biggest concerns.
So another question I got is a big setback that you had. What in the course of you running business, what is a big kind of setback, issue, challenge that you had to overcome? I want you to think about that. I want you to think about it.
Don't say it.
I gotta say it. I gotta say it, and I want to say it. We are so fortunate to have these people that want to sponsor with us. That I'm happy. I love our sponsors, and I gladly do their reads.
Well, it's great that we have the sponsors.
Absolutely. So our sponsor for this month is Academy Leadership, and they are offering an intensive NBA quality 3-day leadership excellent course worth 36 PDUs. They've been working closely with PMI for over a decade. Their next course is in New York City on May 8th through the 10th, and the facilitator is a West Point graduate, combat veteran, and experienced project manager. More than 1,000 executives, professionals, and sports staff have come to Academy Leadership to improve business results by becoming better leaders. They have more confidence and more productivity, more in command, and better able to get things done through other people. In short, they have taken their leadership skills and their organizations to a whole new level, Sin. All right?
Wonderful.
They do not mess around. I think I came up with the term military grade leadership. I think I coined that.
You coined that?
Yeah.
I can see that.
That's what I do for sponsors. I give them a little extra.
Sure.
They could use it. Feel free to use it. So to learn more about Academy Leadership, visit academyleadership.com. Once again, their course is May 8th through the 10th, so act now. There's limited space, so act now. 36 PDUs. It's amazing what they offer. And it's a 90-day aftercare program where they follow up with you afterwards. It's amazing. It's just amazing. You will be an entirely different person.
Absolutely.
And, Sin, it's something to think about. I like you the way you are, Sid. So, Lou, let's get back to what was a challenge or setback that you've had, that you faced, and you overcame it.
I think one of the biggest challenges you actually have here is you can't do every job that you want to, or that you're not capable of doing it all. So I may focus a little bit more on the sales or oriented area or marketing, but somebody else has got to do the coding, and you have to manage the intellectual property, and you have to keep things moving forward. So I think the biggest setbacks you're going to have, especially if you're in an arena where you're not completely 100% focused or have a background in, is getting those experts in those areas that then come on board that you can effectively manage and work with, and there's always a trust factor
Right.
that you actually have to kind of like get over the hump of, okay, but you have to trust, but like verify, right?
You get a
Right.
good team, a strong team,
Right.
and you can rely on them, right? When there's some issues.
Yeah, and I think the biggest issues you actually have is making sure that there's going to be bumps in the road. There's going to be times when you're going to skip over things, but that you make some of the transition as smooth as you possibly can. And it's never easy. If you could look forward and say, I'm going to have to deal with all this stuff for the next 2 years, you may turn around and walk away.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah, you just have to focus on what's ahead of you.
You just deal
Yeah.
with what's coming in front of you at that moment in time, and you just remove that one obstacle that's in front of you. So
There's a quote that I love. It's transform the world through creative response. And I think it's important, if you do have an issue, to think of a creative way to kind of manage it. Work with your team. It's important.
You have to get through things one step at a time. I was actually curious about like some of the suggestions that you get. I mean, are they all suggestions, or do you wind up having some people that are just complaining?
I would say 90% of them, or maybe 95% of them, are actual suggestions. There may be some things that are there that are a little hostile at times, but those are the atypical ones, as opposed to what we're going to get is actual actionable information that's coming through.
Oh, okay.
So
Well, I guess the ones who would complain would search for youcomplain.com.
yeah, we haven't come out with that.
Lou, do you have a suggestion for us for this podcast? Any suggestions that we should do? Maybe I shouldn't ask. Some of the people in the room are laughing at
Well,
us
shouldn't
for
he fill it out online?
that. Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah. He'll have to
I could fill it out online if you want to. So.
But I know we're running low on time. I want to thank you for coming in.
Well, thank
It's
you
been
for having
great.
me.
I think we learned some things. I'm thinking of coming up with some suggestions as I think about it.
Well, I think everyone should go suggest it. They should
Yes.
go
You
check out
suggest-
Suggestit.
So it's usuggestit.com.
Usuggestit.com with the letter U.
Excellent. Thank you for being on the show. Sin, thanks for filling in.
My pleasure.
Great.
Anytime.
I want to thank our sponsors. You guys have been great. That's our time. Thanks for coming in. And remind everybody to send us an SOS. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, subscribe to us on iTunes, and share. Share with a friend. I'm Brian.
I'm Sin.
This is Scope of Success. And remember, keep doing the work.
Scope of Success is brought to you by PMI Long Island, the Project Management Institute of Long Island. For more information, visit pmilic.org.